بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. From Abadu, this is in response to a question I was asked by one of my very dear friends who's doing his Alimiyat, a 6-year Alimiyat course in a madrasa. And his question was, he said, I have difficulty remembering technical terms, Sharia Istilahat, and I have difficulty remembering Masail and being able to quote them verbatim, quote them extempore, and so on. And I feel bad because after studying all these years, I still can't get myself or can't remember these things. Now it's of course absolutely understandable, especially with the Sharia Istilahat, because the words and names are in Arabic. Arabic is not his mother tongue, he's not learnt Arabic itself, so it's just a matter of memorizing that or mugging it up or something else. So my advice to him and myself and anyone else who's interested, first and foremost, look at and examine your niyyah. Why are you studying this course? Why have you taken the time and the trouble? May Allah bless you and put barakah in this and make it easy for you. Why have you taken the time and the trouble to enroll in a full-time course in Islam, an Alimiyat course? Why? Ask yourself that first ask that question. And if the answer is that I want to become an alim, I want to be somebody who will be addressed as Maulana, then make istighfar, make tawbah, and do not go to the next class until your heart is free from this aib, from this very big sickness. Continuously make tawbah, right? Even if you go to the next class, continuously make tawbah. Because this is the worst reason to study Islam. And I'm not saying this for myself. This is the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu who quoted this, and he said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not study Islam for 3 reasons. Do not study for 3 reasons. One is to argue with the fuqaha, is to argue with the scholars, is to argue with the jurists. And the second one, reason why you should not learn Islam, is to look good before the sufaha, to look good before the fools, which includes all of us. People who have little or no knowledge, who try to pretend to be knowledgeable, and general janta, awam-e-nas. And the third one, he says, to attract people towards you, to attract the eyes of people towards you, meaning to become popular for Facebook likes and thumbs up and whatever else. So here is the Nabi alayhi salam telling us specifically why not to study Islam. So if you say that I am studying Islam so I can, in my heart you may not say that I may be called alim, I may be addressed as Maulana Fulan bin Fulan, then that's the worst reason to study. And if you continue to do that, may Allah protect us. You might be answerable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that. So why should you study that? First and foremost, we should study Deen because it is our dire need. It is something which is even more important than food and water. Something which is more important than food and water. You might say, well, what's more important than food and water? I said Deen, because if I do not get food and water for a certain period of time, I will die. That's it. But if I don't know my Deen and I live a long life because I did not know anything and I didn't make any effort to learn anything, and my long life was spent in disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in rebellion against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all kinds of stuff, and I die, even though I had plenty to eat and drink, even though I lived in luxury, the chances are that I might end up in Jahannam if Allah does not forgive me. So therefore, knowing Deen is the number one important thing in life for a Muslim. Far more important than food and water, so obviously far more important than whatever professional qualification that you're getting, far more important than becoming a doctor, engineer, blah, 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 whatnot. So, why are you rolling? Why am I learning? Because this is the most important thing. So, I'm going to give this my best time of the day, my maximum effort. I'm going to spend money if I need to spend money, and then I will learn this deen because, number one, this is the most critically important thing for me to learn. So that's one. Secondly, as far as quoting verbatim and so on is concerned, who said that quoting extempore is required? It's not required. There's absolutely no problem if you are asked a question and you refer to a book and you look it up and you answer the question. Now I know that part of this problem is because of also, may Allah protect us, the way we teach. Because we have taken into our Dini Madaris the system of the Dunyavi Ulum, the way anything else is taught in any school. So we teach books, we have lessons, we have a curriculum, we have syllabus, we complete that, and then we have an exam. And in this exam we mark people purely on random recall, not on their understanding, not on how much they practice it, not on the level of their taqwa, because that's very difficult to assess anyway. But the point is none of those things, just random recall. And based on the random recall, we pass or fail people. And so obviously, if a student is so stuck on the fact that he cannot randomly recall stuff, it's understandable. But my advice to the student is, forget all this. You are not studying the deen to pass exams. Even if you fail the exam, it doesn't matter. If you do not know that istila, it doesn't matter. What matters is, did you have taqwa in your heart? Did this enable you to develop taqwa? Are you practicing Islam? Are you concerned about the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What are you getting to get the rida of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? These are the things which matter. This is what Allah will question us for. Just ask a simple question. Today, if you're studying fiqh, for example, right? And that's another one. Everyone wants to become a mufti. I say, why don't you want to study tafsir of Quran? Why don't you want to become a mufassir? Why don't you want to study the seerah of Rasulullah without studying which it is impossible to be a Muslim? It's impossible to practice Islam. No interest in that, right? Why don't you want to become a muhaddis? Study a hadith. No interest. Mufti. Why? And may Allah have mercy, I'm not casting aspersions on anybody. My apologies in advance. Because if you become a mufti, the chances are that you will get a job in an Islamic finance place. Either it's a Islamic finance window in a openly haram bank, or it's an Islamic bank. And for that, now that's the worst reason to study fiqh. Because if you study fiqh in order to get a job, then where is the integrity of the usul, where you are supposed to judge on the basis of right and wrong for the pleasure of Allah? You're putting yourself in line to become somebody who is open to all kinds of corruption. So I'm not saying getting a job in a finance organization or in an Islamic bank is wrong. No, it's not, but that should not be the reason why you study fiqh. So anyway, the point being, why do you study? For this reason. But as I said, the examination system maybe pushes you to this. Forget the examination system. It doesn't matter. A person who actually practices Islam, and practices Islam in the sense, for example, just to cover a side note, take any admission paper, right? The first year, second year, third year, say first grade in a Darul or Madrasa, take that paper and take it to any of the great Sahaba of Rasulullah and ask them to answer it. Believe me, they would fail, because they don't know those istilahat. Those terminologies didn't exist. Makruh, tahrimi, tanzihi did not exist. What did they do? They said, Allah does not like this, Allah's Rasul does not like this, alayhi salatu wasalam, and so I will not do it. That's it, period. They don't like it, so won't do it. That is why they have the position that they have. And we can become half huffaz of all the books, but we cannot for certainty say that my iman, my ikhlas, my is completely intact, right? So beware of that. So what must you do? Focus on learning, focus on practice. And as far as referring to books is concerned, I even advise people, and I do it myself. I'm not a hafiz of Quran, but I do it myself, which is that if I need to recite anything, and I know this ayah, I know it very well, I recite it all the time, but if I need to recite it, especially in public, especially in a khutbah, in a bayan or something, I always have it written down and I look at it. And thought comes into my mind. Oh, people say, oh, acha, this guy doesn't know it, so he has to look it up. I say, alhamdulillah, very good, very good. I don't want them to say, oh, this man is a hafiz. No. It's good for your class. Let people think that you are ignorant. Let people think that you are a fool, because it keeps you firmly grounded. When people start thinking that you are Bahrul Ulum, that you are this ocean of knowledge, that is a trap of shaitan. Because you will also start believing that at some point in time because of what people keep saying. That's why we have a beautiful saying in Urdu. We said, Peer Sahab nahi udte, murid udate hain. We said the Peer Sahab, the Murshad, the Shaykh doesn't fly. His murids make him fly. You know, they have all these karamat stories. कि ये हुआ और वो हुआ और क्या हुआ. So, please, let's understand this. Study Islam for the right reason. What is the right reason? The opposite of what the hadith says. Don't study to argue with the fuqaha. So study so that you know enough, and you study. And when you come to a faqih, when you come to a alim, go and sit there in an attitude of genuine submission and genuine studentship and ask. Don't argue. Second one is to look good before the people. How can you avoid that? By not talking to the people about all these things. No need. Somebody comes to ask you about a masala, don't tell him, even if you know. Even if you know, don't tell him. Tell him, please go and ask your sheikh, go ask your imam sahib, go ask the alim in your community. Don't give them don't give a ruling. Right? This is a big trap, very big trap. Especially I know, because I speak publicly in many places, and when you ask a question and answers, almost all of them, even though right in the beginning, I have it announced very clearly. I'm not answering fiqh questions. I'm not giving fatwa. I'm not a mufti. Any question you have, ask ulama. No. As soon as the thing is finished, Sheikh, is this permissible? Is that permissible? Never answer that. Say, I don't know. I don't know. Even if I know, I won't tell you. Go ask your scholar. Go ask your imam. Keeps you grounded. And as far as attracting the masses is concerned, I remind myself and you, fear the hellfire. Fear the hellfire for yourself, because if you are doing it for riyah, this is shirk. If you are doing it to attract people, it means that you are doing it for the people. And if you are doing it for the people, this is shirk. And the place of shirk is the fire. So fear the hellfire. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us to learn, make it full of barakah for us to learn, and have us focused completely and totally and exclusively on the amal, on the action, not on anything other than action. Completely focused on action, completely focused on studying the deen in order to please Allah and for no other reason. وصلى الله على نبي الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا رب العالمين.